Five Links. Been with the company now since November of 2008. Okay, so I've been around for a while, seen a lot of great things occur with Five Links, and I'm very excited that my wife and I are actually still with the company. Excited about the growth that the company is having right now. Excited about our new flagship products, and just excited for the direction that the company is headed in. So, just a little background of information about myself before we get started. I know this is only supposed to be about a 10 or 15-minute call, so I want to be brief. But prior to Five Links, I owned a restaurant franchise on the south side of Chicago. Over an 18-year period, I had seven locations. I used to also rehab and flip real estate, as well as ended up becoming a landlord, something I didn't like. And then I was also a bank loan officer. So the thing was, I was pretty diverse in everything that I was doing. But as we all know, in 2008, our economy took a dip, and every industry that I was involved in was affected by that dip. So I had never even considered network marketing or considered, doing something like this. But, when your back gets up against the wall, you start to open up your mind and start to be open to looking at other streams of income. So whether you're just getting started with Five Links or whether you've been involved with Five Links for a while, the great thing about this business is that you can always start over. And as I travel, and meet new people in the company, what I find is that there's a lot of people that have been involved for quite some time, but they just haven't had, the right sense of direction. And then we always are meeting new people getting started that have never been in business before. So what I wanted to do was kind of just go over a few key points that whether you've been around for a while or whether you're just getting started, if you take these points and implement them, then you can start to see some growth. Because what you want to do is you want to make sure that your business has activity every single day. So whether it's new customers or new business partners, the thing is, you're with your MLM business or with your Five Links business, you got to get it to where your doors are open every day. Now, chances are you're going to have more customers coming into your business than business partners, and that's great because no business can survive without customers. So chances are, as you're getting started with the opportunity or you've been around and you haven't really grown your business, a lot of times it has to do with whether it's sense of direction or whether or not it's just being nervous. Oftentimes, getting started with Five Links, you're in a situation where you're coming out of your comfort zone. And we're not growing unless we get uncomfortable. So you might be a little nervous, but what you need to do is just take a deep breath, and really reflect and think about why you got started. Okay. Five Links already has success systems in place, and it has already created a lot of success stories off of these success systems. So when you look at the history of Five Links has turned out many multi-million-dollar earners. Five Links has turned out, diamond senior vice presidents, platinum senior vice presidents, hundreds of senior vice presidents. As you just look down the track record, it doesn't matter what your background was. If you committed to learning this business, you could be successful. So that person that may have been a stay-at-home mom or dad, or that person that may have been a politician or a doctor or a lawyer. It doesn't matter. The success system and the system that we use is the same for everyone. So, if you're nervous about it, we understand that, but just take a deep breath, okay? Because the system works if you work it. Then, next thing I want you to do is when you're getting started with the opportunity or when you're starting to move in the opportunity, is focus on the products that you use daily to start. See, many of us are missing the point because we're not on the products ourselves. And what we need to focus on is products and services we use every single day. We pay bills on them every single month, and we can never pay them off. Because guess what? Every single person we know, they're in that same ballpark. They're using lights, they're using gas, they're using cable, they're using internet, home security. If they're not using home security, they need to be using home security. But understand something. When you focus on those products alone and understand TV product, that's our flagship product now. So just those five products alone, and I got to throw Daily Dimes in there, otherwise Nelson to get me. But when we just look at the 5 products that we've used all our life, and everybody we know use them all our life. When you think about it, that's 5 customers right in your own home that you could be in a position to get paid on every single month. So when you start out focusing on that, because I don't want you to go trying to sell someone tea that doesn't drink tea. Don't try to sell someone coffee that doesn't drink coffee. We want to put people in a situation where they don't mind being our customer because we're not changing their spending pattern. So when we talk about lights, gas, television, internet, security system, they're paying those bills anyway. So we're not changing their spending pattern, but we're getting them to support our business. So the way we go about this is we become our own customer, and then we have to have private business receptions. And I'm extremely passionate about private business receptions because they do a few things for our business. Number one, they help us share the opportunity with people that can become business partners and or customers. Number two, it gives you an opportunity to get to know your leadership, because chances are, if you're just getting started, there's going to be an executive director or a national director or even a senior vice president there that you can start to build a relationship with. See, 5 Links is relationship marketing, and you want to start to build a team of people that you guys can go out and conquer the world with. So the thing is, private business receptions, they build camaraderie. And then another thing that it does is it shows your team that it's something that they can do too. The private business receptions, they don't cost us anything to do them other than chips, dip, water, and maybe soda. So they're inexpensive to have, but they start to build those relationships that can actually be lifelong. These are lifelong business relationships that we're building right in the dens and living rooms, because the thing is, we have a multi-million-dollar opportunity at our fingertips. So when you look back at companies like Microsoft, you look back at companies like Apple, you look back at companies, like Google, many of these companies were started in small rooms, dens and living rooms. Even in some cases, a lot of these technical companies, they were started in garages, and they simply was just sharing their ideas with their friends and family. So these private business receptions that we're doing right in our dens and living rooms, we're building lifelong relationships with customers and business partners that can help change the outcome of not only our future but also for the generations to come in our families. So don't take those private business receptions lightly, because what happens is those individuals that say, hey, I'm not ready to get started with your business, then we can turn around and talk to them about the gas, about the electric, about the television, about the internet, about the security systems. See, right there is where we pick up those extra 20 customers that we need to position ourselves for the 25 customer club. And what I want everybody to realize is you got in business, you may have had a strong why, but you also got in business to make money. And I believe that the way for you to really get a big picture at how the residual income and the reoccurring income looks is to get right into the 25 customer club. If you're not in the 25 customer club today, make a commitment to get in it by the end of the month. If you're somewhere between 1 and 5 customers, make sure you get to at least 15 by the end of the month and into 25 by the end of the next month. But the thing is, you got to make a commitment to start getting reoccurring income coming into your running account balance on a monthly basis. And the way you do that is by exposing the business, starting with your friends and family right in the dens and living rooms of your household. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the friends and family, because so many of us are chopped down by friends and family, and we allow them to discourage us when we're getting started with the opportunity. Now, the thing is with our friends and family, they need to know what we're doing, even if they're not going to support us. Okay, chances are the reason why they're not supporting us is because they don't understand what it is that you're doing. So what you have to do is you have to just take it all in, because the thing is, those friends and family relationships that may be difficult for us, they're going to build our character. And then those few friends and family members that actually support us, they're going to help to start building our business. But we've got to go through the no's. And the strongest no's you can go through, the ones that's going to cut the deepest, are the ones that are people that you love. But every successful business goes through some type of hardship, and the thing is, in this type of business right here, it's a relationship business, and we got to get to the people that we have relationships with first. So make sure that we're getting to those friends and family first, because some of them, they will support us. Okay. The others that don't, at least they know what we're doing, because the reason, like I say, they don't know why you're doing this. But once you become successful in it, and you have to make a commitment to be successful, but once you become successful, one or two things happen. They're either going to come back to you and tell you, I knew you could do it, or they're going to come back to you and say, I'm ready to get started and help support you, or help support themselves in this business as well. So the thing is, don't worry about whether or not they're supporting you or not. Don't let that stop you. Let that build your character as you start to grow your business. Next up, commit to personal development. And usually that's a reason why a friend or family member isn't supporting you in the business, because the thing is, you go to someone talking to them about lights and gas, and it doesn't matter what your profession is. You could be a stay-at-home mom, or you could be a doctor or a nurse. Thing is, you don't know anything about lights and gas. So what you have to do is commit to the training that Five Links provides, as well as commit to personal development, because people need to see the change in you. They need to see the growth in you as you take your new enterprise serious. So as they start to see you grow, as they start to see you develop, then they start to look at you a lot differently. See, we cannot be the same person that we were before we got started in Five Links. Before I got started in Five Links, every Sunday I had a house full of people. You know, it was whether it was football season, whether it was basketball season, you know, if it was just the summer barbecue, whatever the case. You know, I had other businesses going, but those businesses didn't require a great deal of personal development. As I got started in Five Links and started studying under people like Darren Hardy, under people like Brian Tracy, started listening to Jim Rohn, you know, all of those things start to change who you are as a person. And as a result, a lot of people start to admire you from afar. But what you'll notice is you're growing. OK, and we're seeing a lot of those people stay stagnant. So what you need to do is, all of those people now, I can go back to them and get them as customers, or they've even come into my business. But what you have to do is remember that this is about you, your growth, your family, not about their growth and their family. So as you continue to grow, as you continue to get that personal development, then what will happen is they'll start to admire you and start to respect you as an entrepreneur. So make sure that you commit to getting personal development. Make sure you commit to training. And a key way of doing that, you can listen to personal development on a daily basis, but also make sure you're attending your Super Saturdays in your market. Make sure you're committing to the regionals. Make sure you're committing to the international training events, because that's where you're going to get the greatest development from the top leaders in the company that you're a part of. And next up is, when we start to talk about MLM sales, I want you to keep in mind, it's not about the product. It's not about TV. It's not about Daily Dimes. It's not about, you know, gas and electric, but it's about you. And that's where the personal development comes in at, is that you have to get the development. But in the meantime, make sure that you're leveraging your upline. Because those individuals that right now may not support you in your business, it's because they don't believe in you. But what you can do is you can leverage someone, an upline senior vice president, and say, this is the expert. So make sure you're utilizing the experts that have been placed in your upline, or that you're placed in their downline. Leverage those individuals so that they can help close those individuals out for you, and you can still get your business to growing. So make sure that you're utilizing the leverage that you have available. OK, and then next up, and this is probably the next to the last topic that I have, is when you get started in an opportunity like this, or in an opportunity like Five Links, one of the things you have to do is you have to take off your employee hat and put on your CEO hat. And just a quick story, you know, when you start to think about that, because some of you may wonder what I mean, is when I got started as with my first store, my first restaurant I actually opened at the age of 18. But prior to that, I worked for the same franchise for 4 years, all through high school. I worked for the same franchise. And one of the things that we did while working for that franchise, you know, we made minimum wage, but I could, you know, if we wanted a soda, you could just get a soda. You wanted to make a milkshake, you could just make a milkshake. You wanted a sandwich, you could just fix a sandwich. So I made minimum wage, and all of us made minimum wage, but by the end of the night, we probably, averaged out to about $20 an hour. Well, as I opened my first store, what I realized is those same sodas that you could just drink one when you wanted to, well, guess what? Now I'm paying for it. That same ice cream that we was making milkshakes with, you know what? That's my bill. Those sandwiches, I'm paying for those. So what you have to realize is when you get started in business is that a lot of the same activities that you do as an employee, you cannot do as a CEO. So think about it. Right now, you're donating about 12 hours a day to a job because you're working about 8 hours. You are you're giving about 2 hours in transporting yourself back and forth. You're getting up, preparing for work. You're getting home and preparing for the next day. You're giving a free hour of lunch. And then we go and we give about 30 minutes to our business. Well, guess what? And in a lot of cases, we're not even giving 30 minutes to our business when we get home. And what we have to do is we have to put on that CEO hat and find a way where we have to, plan to work our business throughout the course of the day, whether it be on our way to work, making 5 phone calls, on our lunch break, making 5 phone calls, on our way home, making 5 phone calls, and then in the evening, dedicating time, whether it be to training, whether it be to attending a PBR, whether it be to, closing out some customers, all of these things that CEOs do. We have to start thinking like CEOs. When you take a look at a CEO lifestyle, those individuals, just because they got off work didn't stop. If you want to live that different lifestyle, which is the reason why you got started in 5 Links, you have to do things different than what you do as an employee. You have to do the things that CEOs do. So what we have to do is we have to keep our why in front of us. See, a lot of times, as soon as we get started in a business and we hit a bump in the road, the first thing we do is we forget why we got started, and we start to put everything, we go right back to the pattern that we were involved in prior to getting started in 5 Links. What we have to do is we got to keep that why in front of us. If that why is your kids, if that why is to live a better life, if that why is to pay for someone's tuition, if that why is to get off of that job, what we have to do is we got to keep those things in front of us, because those will be the very same things that stop us from accomplishing the success that we got started in 5 Links for. So what we have to do is we have to keep the why in front of us and not allow ourselves to get distracted by the exact same things that were the reason that we got started in 5 Links. So, that's pretty much all I have for today. I'm wishing everyone much success. I think I ran over the time a little bit, but what I'll do is I'll open the call for a couple questions. I'm going to open it up. If you got background noise, please press *6 and mute your line or mute your phone. But I'll open the call for a couple questions just so, and I'll probably take 2, maybe 3 questions depending on how long they are. All right, so let's see.
All callers are muted. Muted. The following conference commands are available. For extended options, press. All callers are unmuted.
Okay, so if you got background noise, please press *6.
Barbara Peck, Chicago, Illinois.
Okay, go ahead, Barbara.
I just want to say this was a great complex you've given us next time.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Okay, anyone else? Okay, anyone else with any questions?
Unmute the call, so they don't never act right.
The call is unmuted. Anyone have a question? Okay. Okay, if no one else has a question, we'll go ahead and close out today's call. Thank you guys for attending.
All callers are muted and they can unmute themselves.
Okay, if you have a question, press *6 and you'll be able to unmute yourself and speak.